This one's on clip art, Excel's clip art. We're going to look at the search capabilities for finding clip art. We're going to look at the functionality to manage clip art, and we'll talk about the editing and formatting functionality as well. So you may have noticed at the beginning of all of these movies, the preview, there's a worksheet in the upper right-hand corner that has some illustrations. Well, that's clip art. You may have already known that as well. This movie is about clip art. And Excel provides more than 150,000 illustrations, photographs, and items, graphic items, to select from that you can search through using keywords. In spite of that, sometimes it was still fairly difficult to find a clip art piece that would represent the content of the movies, but be that as it may, to get to the clip art functionality, you go to the Insert tab in the Illustrations group and left-click Clip Art, and we get a selection pane that's been populated with the last search term that I used, which was clip. And below the field where you're putting in a search term, which is a search that will match up keywords that are associated with these graphic images. And the graphic images that you can search through are either or illustrations, photographs, videos, and audio. Or you can left-click all media types. I don't want all of them. I just want, for this purpose, illustrations and photographs. I'm going to left-click off of that drop-down. And below that, this box is checked by default, include Office.com content. If you don't have that checked, the search will limit itself to what's on your local drive. I'm going to left-click Go, and I get my search results. From here, there's a couple of different ways to insert the clip art onto your worksheet. First, choose a landing spot, or where you want that clip art to go. I can double-click the clip art, and Excel will add that clip art where the upper left-hand corner is the landing spot that I just selected, the active cell. The clip art is selected automatically with handles that allow you to resize the clip art. If you resize at the corner, you'll maintain the same aspect ratio. If you resize on the edges, you'll distort the image a bit. It also has a rotating handle, so I can spin the picture. And another way that I could have inserted an illustration or a picture, this time I'm going to scroll down and choose an illustration, is to left-click this drop-down where I have the option to insert the clip art. And again, it goes to where the landing spot that I chose was. I can copy the clip art. And then I have four options that it looks like only two of which are actually active: make available offline and edit keywords. The edit keywords functionality actually won't work with the clip art unless it's on your local drive. When I left-click edit keywords, it looks like I can edit the keywords, but I really can't because it's all grayed out. And that makes sense. Microsoft doesn't want people monkeying around with the keywords that they've established for the clip art. But if you should decide that you like these pieces and you want to make them available offline, I'm going to select clip 1, OK, OK, and then go back up to the other piece that we have, make available offline, new, call this one clip 2, OK, OK. And now a couple things happen. I can do a search on my local drive, and I can find both of those pieces because I have them on my local drive. And I can now delete them from the clip organizer, which is the reference to my local drive. I can organize these in collections that I can name. Once I've established some collections, I can move the items to the collection that I've established. And here I can actually edit the keywords where I can establish search terms for the items that I've stored on my local drive. I'm going to cancel that because I don't really want to do that. I'm going to go back in and run another search, including Office.com. I'll click the drop-down. The last item on this drop-down is to look at the properties. It shows you the resolution, the file size. You can see the orientation, and it also lists the keywords. Again, it gives you the option to edit the keywords, and I can do that because I have a local copy of this, so I'm not editing the Office.com keywords here. I'm editing my own keywords. can go to the next one, which is the other one that I have on my local drive. I'm going to close that. Below the selection pane, we have the option to go to Office.com and possibly find more images, and we have some helpful information about trying to search for clip art. I'm going to close that. So once we get our clip art that we want, I'm going to close the task pane. We can select the clip art piece just by left-clicking on it, and again, we can rotate it. We can resize the clip art to maintain the aspect ratio, or we can distort the image a bit. I can left-click it and grab it and move it. And we have a contextually driven ribbon that popped up, the Picture Tools, the Format tab, where the first choice, Remove Background, is not available on the illustrations, but it is available on the pictures. I just selected the picture. I can left-click Remove Background, and Excel does its best to determine where the background begins and ends. When I left-click off of that, I'm left with a truncated version of the image. In this case, it kind of distorted things a bit, so I'm going to undo that by pressing Control-Z. Go back to the Format tab. We're going to go through these options a little bit more in depth when we do the movie that it's about pictures. So I'm going to left-click the illustration, and these drop-downs are pretty self-explanatory. I can make the image darker or lighter. I can change the color. I can compress the picture to make it smaller in size so that it won't take up so much storage space. Cancel that. I can change the picture. It's an illustration, yes. I could change it to the football if I want to. Cancel that. I can reset the picture. Either just reset the picture, all the things I've done to it, or reset the picture and reset the size to its original size as well. I have a bunch of styles I can choose from, which are basically just either orientations or changing the perspective or putting a border around the image. And then I can also change the border directly. I have a bunch of picture effects that I can choose from. And again, we'll go into this more in detail when we talk about pictures. I've got, it says picture layout. These are actually smart art images, which we'll also cover. These are arrangement options. If you have several images that you're dealing with, or several objects that you're dealing with, this is the group of commands to refer to utilize, to align these, organize them, layer them. You can crop the picture and change the actual content of the picture, and or change the height and width. And when we manually change the height and width, you'll see those numbers adjust accordingly. So that was clip art. We talked about searching for clip art and the search functionality. We manage the clip art where we can store it on our hard drive. We can change the keywords. We can group them into collections that we define. And we covered some editing and formatting options where we can change the orientation of the picture and where it shows up on our worksheet. We can change the size, we can rotate it. And then there's a whole array of formatting options that we have available with the contextually driven ribbon tab.